These stories happened while I worked in a state media unit, better known as NEM. I won't say the address or the exact place it was, or anything like that, because it's government property and, for reasons I don't understand, it's prohibited to reveal information about that unit. All of this began in mid-2006. They worked 24-hour shifts. It was a June when I started there. I met a man named Severiano. He told me ghost stories and about his old life in Tampico, where he worked on the railroads. He told me that at our workplace there was paranormal activity. In fact, he said he had the ability to see ghosts and feel energies. By nightfall, he finished telling me that there was a man dressed in black who would peek out, but hide whenever you tried to look straight at him. I doubted it, because I wasn't seeing anything. So I decided to test it when I was alone. At around 2 o'clock in the morning, my coworker was asleep. I went to the right side where the area was empty, and I started praying by myself. After a few minutes, I heard a thump or bang from that same area. I was surprised, because I didn't expect any response. I went to check, thinking maybe it had been something like a rock thrown by some troublemakers. When I arrived, the area was completely clear, no rocks, nothing out of place. I didn't see anything, so I felt disappointed and went back to my booth to sleep. When morning came, I told my coworker what happened. He told me it was my fault for not believing. This next thing happened in the summer, in May 2007. The administrator and Severiano were there with a woman's name I won't mention. Severiano was explaining that he had heard a table fall, and that things on top of it had moved. This happened during the morning, though even then I couldn't fully follow exactly how it happened. I got closer to listen better. He said that someone inside had moved along the table and then knocked it down. He explained that it happened when he went out to do his early morning rounds, right when I was sleeping. They checked everything. The table was intact, with no signs of tampering, and nothing strange could be found. No one ever knew what caused it. The cleaning staff didn't say much, because they hadn't found any overturned boxes or anything unusual. That day stayed in my memory, because both Severiano and I knew something was there inside. This other experience happened before I became a security guard in that area, back in 2005. I was with Ivan, one of my coworkers, at a place called The Site, where the network equipment and all the server connections were kept. That afternoon, we tested a camera that automatically took photos when it detected movement. I was one of the test subjects. We let the camera do its job. We had gone to the reception desk where users were being attended to, just to talk for a bit, and after a few minutes we returned to view the photos the camera had taken. That's when Ivan noticed something strange. He focused very hard on something and asked if I could see the same thing. He was playing the images, but he didn't notice anything at first. Then he told me, "Look carefully at the upper right corner of the frame." I did, and I saw it. In the window blinds there was an effect, something that looked like eyes and a mouth, but in stripes. It was a weird phenomenon, but it was real. Back then, I didn't have a USB drive or anything to back up the information, but Ivan did. Unfortunately, I lost contact with him when he changed jobs. Still, I remember that event to this day. I don't know if it was wind or something that caused it, even though the windows of that place were sealed with white silicone to prevent air from coming in. I know it's hard to explain, but I kept it in my own files of curious things. July 2006, I was doing my rounds in the back area, where there are large doors. I had gone out for a cigarette. When I finished, I pressed my ear to the door to see what I could hear. At that time, I already knew things happened there, but I wanted to experience it myself. After a few minutes, I heard what sounded like someone moving a chair. I could clearly hear the squeaking of the floor. Then I heard something like someone hanging up a phone. I knew the sound because whenever I went inside to drink water, I had heard when people hung up their phones, so I recognized it immediately. I pulled my ear away and looked inside for a while, but I didn't see anything move. Then I felt fear and I left. I returned to my booth. That night I was a little traumatized. I kept trying to calm my mind by telling myself it had an explanation, but I knew very well they were paranormal events. I only went out to smoke and to use the bathroom, but I was afraid to go check anything late at night. What I'm going to tell you next is something that happened in a dream, and then became real. In 2006, I dreamed the following. I was inside the media unit where I had spent a lot of time. What brought me there were two spirits. They told me they wanted light so they could rest in peace. In the dream, I agreed, but first I had to defeat a kind of demon that prevented them from going to the other side. I only know that in the dream I pulled out a rosary that shone with white and blue light. After that, I went through a door. In reality, that door led to the cleaning storage room, and as I started shining the light, everything inside was completely dark. When I lit up the left wall, I saw traces of blood. When I went to the center, I saw letters that said, "You will die, Manuel." When I turned around to go back and try to escape, a kind of wolf attacked me. It began to bite my arm and eat it, until it got halfway. I pushed it away as best I could and I stood up. My arm had already regenerated. Then I pulled out a kind of sword made of light, remember that? With that sword, I killed that demon, and finally, everything ended. When I exited, a bright white light burst out. The spirit of the girl who was there became happy and thanked me. She looked about 8 or 9 years old. She wore a white dress and held a headless doll. The man, meanwhile, was older. He looked like a construction worker, brown pants, a red shirt, and dark skin. Before they left, they told me they would give me a message, but they didn't clarify what it would be. Then they told me to leave quickly, because more like them would come there. When they were gone, the door closed by itself. I heard moaning and crying. I went down the stairs, looked out the window, and saw many souls coming in. Everything grew dark again. I went out the door once more, and that was the end of the dream. I told my friend Ivan everything that happened in my dream. One night, I was sent to shut down all the machines. When I went to machine number 8, I saw how the computer turned on by itself. That felt strange. I went downstairs and asked what time it was last used. Since they keep records, they told me it had been used since 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yet at that time it was already around 9 o'clock at night. So I asked them if there was any way the computer could turn on by itself, and they told me no. I mentioned the message from the dream to Ivan, and we came to the conclusion that that was the message. After 6 years, in 2012, I returned as security at that same place. I made friends with a younger guy there, and I told him about my dream and everything that happened. I described in detail the girl who appeared to me in my dreams. After a few weeks, I found a nun who said she could see ghosts. I asked her a lot about what she saw, and she told me it was a girl. Then I asked my friend how the girl was dressed. My friend told me she wore a white dress and that she seemed playful, though I don't know if that was true, because I couldn't see her myself at that time. The nun said the girl would disappear without leaving a trace. Then I asked about her age. She told me she was about 8 or 9 years old. My friend was surprised and started believing me. I then decided to tell the nun what I had experienced in my dream. I told her about the sword of light, an important detail I had mentioned earlier. The nun was shocked and told me, "A sword of light, not just anyone can carry the sword of Saint Michael the Archangel." She spoke about religion and said I was dealing with a special being and special things. She gave me a small medallion of Saint Diego Abad or Abad. I'm not sure of the exact name. The point is that she said it was a very powerful saint and that it would protect me from anything. I doubted it, but she added that the medallion was blessed, only she needed me to believe in it for the blessing to take effect. I accepted the medallion and thanked her. From that day on, it felt like my dream became real. Still, there is one big question with no answer. Why did the girl remain in our dimension, if she was supposed to go with the man to the other side? I'll never know. I don't know if she is still active or if she disappeared completely. This happened in 2015. It's fairly short, and this is how I end my stories. One day I was waiting for my turn to be relieved at night. My shift partner arrived and I gave him the report for the whole afternoon. When my father arrived, we were outside, and a coworker of my partner noticed a fireball. I didn't have glasses, so I couldn't see clearly what was happening, but my partner saw it and confirmed he could see it too. So there were two people who actually witnessed it. While I was worried about my father and wanted to go back to tell him, my partner's coworker shouted at my father, "Sir, don't go out. No matter how much you want to, don't. Lock yourself in the booth." He kept saying it like that until my father agreed. Luckily, nothing happened. Although I didn't see the witch or the Nawal, I know they were honest, because they were completely aware and everything was real. Besides, we were on a deserted hill near the mountains, and it's not surprising that strange things happen there. These are the accounts I collected, things that happened to me throughout my life. I hope you enjoy them.